Hello and welcome to the DTFF podcast. I'm Ash and that's Todd. and tonight we're going to be talking about a little bit of news that happened not too far from here. What day was that, Todd?
I can't remember what that was now. I think I might have it on my phone. That was just a couple of days ago. So we got a message from our clinical ops group basically stating that there is an MCI taking place. So that was Friday. Yeah, just 2 days ago. Up by near Lac La Hache on Highway 97, there was an MCI. We had a single school bus go off about a 100-foot embankment. That obviously prompted a very large response. And I don't know a whole lot about it. Obviously, any MCI event is extremely challenging. You throw in, pediatrics or young kids, it just elevates your response. It would definitely be very challenging. And again, we talk about our small town responses, how we have in the past, and, generally knowing everybody. The responding agencies and personnel are probably going to know a lot of these kids. So again, it was a school bus down an embankment. There was 36 patients total. EHS response was 11 ground units were sent, 7 air ambulances with critical care paramedics. And within that 11 ground unit response, we had a mixture of primary care paramedics and advanced care paramedics. Multiple supervisors and area managers responded as well. And then 5 fire departments with mutual aid. So we had Lac La Hache Fire Rescue, 100 Mile, 108 Mile, Forest Grove, and Lone Butte Fire Rescue. So they all responded. So, in our past podcast, we were talking about the AutoX, and we talk a lot about mutual aid and just, mutual training. This is a prime example why it's important for us to get on that and train as our neighboring agencies here. That's a very high stress environment. And having multiple partners come right away is huge, just to help you with that sheer volume of tasks that need to get done in a timely fashion. So, very large scale event that occurred with that. It looks like there was potentially 7 patients transported by air and another 7 by ground. There may have been more than that. I don't know the severity of injuries. There was 1 fatality, which wasn't involved in the bus. It was head struck. Sounds like a person stopping to render aid who unfortunately got struck by a vehicle and passed away. So it was a separate incident within that one incident. So our thoughts are to all the family and affected people with that event and the bus event and all the responders. One of the firefighters actually was in the media and spoke of his child was actually on the bus as well. So props to him for dealing with his own child, helping all the other children, keeping his cool, working with the fire department still. That's challenging. You put that situation in any of our shoes if we're responding. It's a tough one. You really got to think about how you're going to deal with that in that moment, right? Do you turn on parent mode or do you turn on rescuer mode? Or a bit of both. You don't know how you're going to react until you're in it. So it's a pretty tough one.
Yeah, and it goes out even further than that. So if he knew his own child in there, I mean, that already in itself is any first responder's worst nightmare. But also your child's friends. Like, you don't just know one person, which happens to be yours. And then and then So, that's just the not small town, because 100 Mile up that way is not small town, but definitely smaller communities, kind of like ours. And that this is, something that we chat about at length is like, this could happen to us. And, you can talk about, how you would handle that scenario. You train for it. Like we've had, not quite this exact scenario, but we've done a scenario. We we used to have a school bus, and we trained with a school bus being on its side or issues, and we've had many scenarios with it. And we train MCI events every year. It's very, very important to keep your brain active on how to handle those moments. But you can hear it's never going to happen to us. Or, what are the odds? Quote, what are the odds? I don't care. I hope it never happens, but I want to be completely trained up as best as we can in the event that it does. Because, I'm sure these people were thinking the same thing, like what are the odds that something like that happens? And it was a Friday afternoon, school season is coming to an end. They were off on a field trip as the media says, and they were coming back home. They were 30 minutes from coming home. There's somebody in the news, one of the interviews was saying how they were following behind and couldn't really tell anything was wrong. And then something happened, and the bus ended up, meandering off the side of the road. And, like my heart goes out to the people that watched it happen. Knowing that there's a bus full of, I think it was like grade 6 or something. Yeah, like pretty young kids, right? And, watching that happen, and then everything that would be coming after that would be really challenging. When this first happened, like we're getting information from the news and whatever Facebook groups or whatever, things are starting to pop up, and like as the information trickles in about the extent of the injuries, and you start to hear maybe there could be a fatal, and not knowing what it is, like all of us actually got like kind of choked up about it, right? Because like we've all got kids in school. This could be any of us, right? So it really starts to hit pretty close to home, and that in turn makes you want to come back and be ready for it. Which, yeah, I know you guys just did your AutoX training. You had a scenario which we'll chat about later as well. But like things like that, like luckily there was none of the children had life-threatening, their injuries weren't life-threatening. Feel terrible for the person that got out to help and ended up getting hit, sadly. But like the silver lining is none of the children had life-threatening injuries. Yeah, like it's just a crazy time. And yeah, huge response, like Todd was saying. And that brings us back, and we always echo it, that being tightly trained with your neighboring communities is huge. And getting that call out early, like they had whatever four mutual aid departments coming to help them. As soon as you know that you have a scenario like that, like get that help coming. EHS is going to do it kind of naturally, but like you want many hands. If that school bus or whatever it is full, like you do not have the resources to deal with that. And if it's down a bank like those guys had, like your medics aren't coming down there. Like the odds are they're getting like airlifted out, or you got some crazy rope system that you have to get these patients up. Todd's got something.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to what we talked about earlier about gaining real estate for parking and how we park on scenes. We always talk about it. You try and leave a fair amount of space at any normal MVA, but now picture, okay, now we've got 30 plus patients. What are the resources that are coming? You need some serious real estate. And now with the air resources, 7 air resources. I don't know how many of them were rotor helicopters versus fixed wing. They probably, that 7 number is most likely a couple of fixed wings that got shuffled up into the area as well. But either way, you're getting a minimum 2 helicopters guaranteed. So you're going to be getting a pretty good resource showing up at your doorstep there all of a sudden. So if you don't have that real estate, now you're playing catch up. So that may be parking back a little bit further, clearing those parked cars out of there that are already up close to your scene, because we know always that occurs. So just come back to how we train and how we talk. It's like fire pre-plan, man. Like pre-plan these things, practice these things. Like Ash, you mentioned, we have done some mock MCI scenarios in the past, and just keep doing that, keep building that. It doesn't have to be a school bus, since it could be multiple cars, or a ammonia situation, or a chlorine leak, or a hazmat, or whatever it may be. But yeah, train on how you're going to work with your other agencies, how you're going to start triaging and utilizing your tools. That's why we're big components now of the battery operated tools, sawzalls, things like that. Like, you can get so much work done with that. Carrying multiple first aid kits and jump kits on more than just your rescue apparatus. Have them on your engines and your duty trucks, because you're going to be needing more kits. Some places make large MCI kits as well. Just packed with basics, nothing crazy, but just lots of kind of trauma management stuff. And then color coding, tarps, assisting triaging, assisting ambulance for triaging. I know you guys it worked out well with the color for your AutoX tarps, but you've got a red and a yellow tarp. So that aids in that MCI color category for triaging. So there's all these little things we can do as a fire service that are going to help the overall picture. And even, I can't remember, it was a long time ago, we did that big event with the school. The school used to have the counterattack driving programs. You guys remember that? I don't think it's called that anymore, but yeah, back then they did a mock scenario, multiple patients, vehicle, drunk driving, police were involved, we had SAR involved, so again, it's just that mock local training event. Looking at social media, it looks like a lot of places actually do these, which is fantastic. Keep doing it, man. Like, I am a huge component for that interagency training, and it's building up that relationship so we can work well together. So I think that'd be key. If you're thinking about it, pull the trigger on it. Get out there and train, plan that event. Now that we're coming into summer too, good weather for it.
Yeah, 100%. Like, as you were chatting, it brought me back to like some of the things that my brain was going through. Chatting about that kind of real estate. So, it's always hard / easy to look back on an event, and then what would I have done? How would I have handled that? Like, I don't know anything about what kind of tactics were used or whatever, but you start looking at that, and Todd was saying about trying to make that real estate, right? And you have to realize, when you've got departments coming from likely both sides of your scene, you've got ambulances coming like crazy, you've got helicopters coming in that are going to be shuffling 2 fixed wings somewhere, or 2 hospitals here or there. How many of these kids do you think are now going to, say, BC Children's? Like they're not going by ground. They might be shuttled somewhere by ground, and then so like you have so much that's going through your brain, as well as trying to look after this scene. Like Todd mentioned, we've got our tarps, which just happen to be the right color code for triage, but on a scene that large, like, you almost have to split up the scene, because you don't want to have your tarps close to one another. So like, for something like that, there's going to be such a big working area if you're going over bank and you have a rope system going. I mean, like, I'm kind of in my brain looking at the aerial of where the area was. Like, you want, whichever the larger center is, you want your reds to be on that side, and have it like clear on the other side of your scene. So you would be coming up the bank, and you're pushing your reds to the right, you're pushing your yellows to the left, and have them like an apparatus or 2 apart. So like, once they get up there, you're moving these patients not a fair distance, but a distance away. Just when there's that many, you can't have them close. So even just trying to keep the scene big enough, like the actual hot zone big enough where these patients are coming up, because it's going to be coming like crazy. And trying to wrap your brain around what that looks like, and what would be required of that, and how many hands on scene. Like, if you start looking at all those vehicles coming in, if you go as little as 4 firefighters per apparatus, which in these kind of areas is likely light, you're probably going to get the first couple are rolling with 5 or more, some 5, some 6. some of the mutual aid departments that are coming in, they're probably going to staff up. Like, so let's send it full, knowing what it is. There's going to be so many hands moving and so much stuff that's going on. You need that real estate, and if you don't make that choice early, it is such a pain in the ass to get that space back once everything's set up and tied in.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's kind of like two basic requirements for setting up an MCI kind of staging area and how we lay our tarps and stuff. However, it all depends on your real estate, like you were saying, right? Like in a perfect world, you can have like them beside each other, spaced out accordingly with like a width of a vehicle, etc. Like you were saying. And then in the perfect world for how we train with MCIs, we've got like delineators out and ribbon out and an entranceway and an exit point. Hey, awesome. But sometimes it just doesn't work that way. So by having a specific separate zone and just having somebody in charge of that zone, so you're going to have your triage manager and your treatment manager, and have people manning those tarps, have those each zone, your green zone, your yellow zone, your red zone, to coordinate that, to funnel people in and direct people, because it goes back to our kind of MCI, like CBR and hazmat style stuff, like the bullhorn marshalling. Like you need to direct people in, gather them, make sure they stay in that one spot so they can be secondary triaged, and then go from there. So you're talking about manpower. So now we've got a team doing over embankment, a team doing extrication, lots of medics down there, more triaging down at the bus, down the hill, secondary triaging, people packaging and helping transport people, people setting up tarps, people manning those tarps, people manning a staging area, instant command, unified command. Like this is an insane amount of bodies. So back to that mutual aid, that's why we're preaching call for help. It does sound like I'm sure at some point here I'll get the details of how it actually went. But I know like our MCIs we've talked about in the past with the another transport bus and the connector a couple of Christmases ago, things like that. Like the crews that I know that were on there, it actually went fairly well. And it's because they train on it. They practice it. And if you don't, it's going to get caught up and bite you in the ass.
Yeah, those kind of scenarios is not when you want to learn that you don't have the skills. You want to make sure you're as dialed as you can be. Yeah. The other side of this thing, so being a bus, it's a big open space and likely no seatbelts or anything. So luckily, the only impingement that happened was the driver. Don't really have the details, but there was rescue efforts that were made, and they were successful getting the driver out. But so now you're however far away from your apparatus. I don't know what kind of tools these guys were set up with. Was it hydraulics that they had to pack their portable gear all the way down with a portable pump? Was it electric? As this stuff unfolds, I don't know if that information will come out, but that gets me thinking, like how set up are you to work that far away from your apparatus? Like we have currently one set with extension lines that is attached to our rescue truck. Our second engine has portable, so they're not battery. It's a portable hydraulic system that you can take down to the scene. So great, but man, like that is a huge challenge. We've been there, but like that is another level now to it. So that's the big push and the big interest on the battery tools. And for a non-complex rescue, like a single patient rescue, with a few spare batteries, if you have to go that long into the rescue, you can be really effective and save a lot of time when you're not having to haul down an entire portable system, because that shit's not light.
Yeah, and actually just segueing into our practice we did the other night, talking about packing tools down banks. That's exactly what we did. So just to kind of wrap up the MCI thing, awesome efforts by everybody. It's an extremely challenging event. I've been on a good number of MCIs through my career now, and they're super exciting to go to, but super nerve-wracking. And it's a lot to process. So yeah, I feel for everybody. And I'm sure the teams are working well together and talking about it and debriefing and setting up future training events. Guarantee that's going to happen. So yeah, well done for everybody, and our thoughts are with everybody recovering. Yeah, so our training event, basically it was to kind of wrap up our RX stuff that we've been talking about this last week. So we did a scenario with a vehicle down an embankment, rolled onto its roof, 2 people trapped inside the vehicle. So when we got there, the scenario was it is too steep to send anybody down by feet. So there's no way we can safely access this vehicle without being going down on a rope line. So rescue truck rolled up first, then we responded with our brush truck. We set up our incident command system with our IC kind of delegating what's going on. Immediate rope bag went to the rescue truck with a tethered rescuer to rappel down or lowered down to the vehicle. So he had the trauma kit, a little bag of tools as well to go down. He did the initial assessment, relayed back up to what he needs, and kind of his game plan on how he's going to get this person out. So now we kind of have 2 scenes. We've got our rope scene up top. We're setting up our slope rescue. And then we need our tools down there. And we need cribbing down there. And we need medics down there. So it adds a lot more complexity to it. So once he was able to relay the information of the rescue plan, we were already working on the rest of the rope system. Got everything rigged up, got our basket stretchers out. We did a tool drop tarp up by the rescue truck with all kind of the potentials we may need. We have 2 basket stretchers on our rescue. So the initial crew went down with, who was it? So we sent 2 people down on the basket after Captain Jorgens went down first for the kind of rescuer. In that basket stretcher, we just loaded simple cribbing, sawzalls, rescue 42s, and straps. So just stabilization. They already had the toolkit down there so that they could start doing the rip and strip, peel and peek, and softening everything while they're prepping for that. Got the 42s up, set up, ready to go. Got the chocks in. As they were getting that set up, we disconnected that basket stretcher, brought our rope back up, lowered our second basket down with another 2 rescuers, tied into that with our portable pump, Homacho pump, and our spreaders, cutters, and ram. And I think like a tarp and a fire extinguisher went down as well, because the nice thing about running a scenario like that, you can pick it apart a little bit later on how we could have done better. And that's how we learn. So we always practice bringing in some sort of a fire extinguisher out when we're doing our outer and inner circles. But of course, now we're focused on going down an embankment, and you're not trying to be like that guy in that cartoon with everything in this kitchen sink on your shoulders going down, right? You're trying to be efficient. And that got missed. So, which is great. So we threw a small extinguisher on and down it went. And then at that point we realized, hey, we still got a couple extra harnesses sitting here. We've got our rope system already set up. It's a pretty complex rescue down there. We're going to need medics. We've got 2 patients. So we sent 2 more guys down on a rope line to go and assist them as well. So in all, I think our timing, by the time we got the patient up, I think we're sitting at 1 hour and 20 minutes. And it's pretty realistic. There was a little bit of pauses and a couple of training moments, but very short. So that time frame was pretty realistic, because it is a complex rescue. We're working in sand to try and secure that vehicle correctly and do the AutoX, pop the doors, and do everything that they needed to do for this scenario to get the people out, and then provide the patient care. Hard collar, strapped to a board or a clamshell, put them in the basket, and tether and bring them up. There's a lot of moving parts, so that was a pretty realistic time frame. I think it went very well. There's a lot of standing around at the top if you're just on the rope team, which sucks, because you've done your task, We can't go down and help. We've got all our other resources and harnesses down there working, and now we're stuck there, sitting there waiting. So that's hard. So I found I was up by the rope team, and it sucks. You sit there, start pacing. You're looking down at the vehicle, watching them work. Like, oh man, like they should do this. You start picking it apart up top, talking to yourself, right? But the whole scenario went fantastic. There's a lot of good learning points. The guys did very well. They definitely tied in a lot of the training that we just finished, which was nice. So nice, good techniques, safety techniques. The one thing actually that we discovered, we were talking about having proper PPE. So we had our rope helmets on when we went down the bank, but our rope helmets don't have any iPro attached. And we do have a lot of extra safety glasses and stuff, but like anything, you forget to throw your safety glasses in your pocket, or if you do have them, at some point they get taken out. So yeah, we're just going to be chatting to see kind of how we can remedy that, whether we put on some sort of goggles, or if we have to do auto X, maybe wear your structure helmet with your visor. We got to talk about it. We're going to figure it out. Looking for any ideas. If anybody else out there has a fantastic helmet system with some iPro on it, let me know. Send me a message. I'd love to see it and hear about it. Because yeah, we want to figure out a nice, safe way and a comfortable way to go down. So wearing a structure helmet down sucks sometimes. So having a rescue style helmet is very comfortable, which I'm sure you're going to talk about when you guys run those. But yeah, we need the iPro as well. So we gotta figure that out.
Yeah, like Todd mentioned, we made the choice to go to that kind of multi-rescue style helmet. We use ours for rescue, auto X, wildland, which is great. So a bit more breathability, a little more like tactical versus the true wildland style helmet that you guys run, which you double up for your rescue as well. And it's got provisions to clip in a set of goggles. So like my goggles are always ready to rock. I do bring iPro. I just keep a cheap set of iPro inside of my bunker gear. And if I am going to be doing any sort of work like that, I can just grab those quick. But if I'm in my wildland gear, which I do have another set in my chest rig, but having the goggles attached to it and it's just a quick down and on is so nice because when you're in there doing the work, it's awesome to have super quick and handy. But as soon as you're back out of the hot zone, it's also nice to be able to like doff them quickly and just be able to. It doesn't really impair your vision or whatever, but yeah, it's just nice to be able to step back and remove them again. So yeah, moving to that style cask helmet that we opted for works really good. We were in a position where we had to make a purchase and we were going to do a wholesale change. So it's definitely not cheap when you look at it like that. But if you're ever in that position where either you can make a rolling change or you're doing a quick wholesale change, they come highly recommended. I think like some of the people when we first got them kind of made fun of them because they don't look like a fire helmet. Where like your guys's and most other wildland ones, they look like the true wildland. But once you start to run them and see like how breathable they are in hot weather, they are completely compliant for wildland, even with the mesh breather holes on them. So that's huge when it's the middle of summer, you're sweating, and you can still have a little bit of breathability. It's really, really nice. So that's what we're running. But yeah, I'd love to hear what other options are out there for guys like Todd.
Yeah, and I think what happened with that scenario, so because we knew it was going to be hot as balls outside for this scenario event, so we just told everybody, hey, just wear your forestry gear, forestry coveralls, but everybody grabbed their structure helmets to initially start the event, and then we got sucked into swapping our helmets to throwing on the Auto X gear, or not, sorry, not the Auto X, the rope gear to go down, and then they realized, oh shit, we don't have anything. If we were to wear our wildland helmets down the embankment, we've got a chin strap, we've got our goggles on it, but that won't meet the code, I don't think. I gotta look into it. for going down the embankment. I'm not sure. But again, this is one thing that we're going to look into to see if we can change the helmet style. Or I don't know. Like I said, everybody knows a good helmet option. Let us know. Yeah, we got to figure something out. I mean, obviously the easy fix is throw in some iPro in our gear and we got it. We know that. We've done that. But I want something that's there all the time, that works all the time, because you bend down, my goggles fall out all the time, my glasses, or they get smashed by my radio in my pocket. So looking for better options.
Yeah, sounds like a pretty good scenario. You know, you guys do the same as we do. You know, making them real, making it real. As real time as you can, but it's also not real life. So if you see something that you could do, like a quick 30-second, blurb, just to kind of tidy up, rather than allowing, I don't want to say failure, but if you're stumbling, it's so much better to kind of lean in and be that angel on the shoulder that Scott likes to chat about, and just say, hey, like, have you thought about trying this? Like, don't give them the path, but like kind of coax them towards it. And that takes your 45-minute scenario to an hour. If there's two or three of those moments that pop in there, allow them to get down a certain path a little bit, because maybe they'll see it, or maybe there's a different outcome that you think. When you're setting up a scenario, and we've chatted about this before, you know exactly how you would do it because you just set it up. So I know I would park here, I would throw this ladder, oh no, I would do this rope style, whatever. Like, what it's going to be. And when somebody rolls up for the first time, they don't have the whole picture yet. They have what they're seeing for the first time. So they're going to be 6 steps going, quote, the wrong way, which very well might be the right way. It's just not your way. So allow them to get down that path and see if they start to find success. And if they don't, and if they're continuing down a bad path where you can see, hey, there's going to be maybe some safety challenges, or if we're missing a step that should really be hit on tonight, like, don't also be afraid to step in there, and like, don't shout it out to everybody. Maybe just go up to the IC, or maybe go up to the person that's in charge of the rescue or whatever, like, and just give that little tap on the shoulder and say, hey, like, what do you think about this? And then watch their brain work, and they'll pivot and move so fast, like 9 times out of 10, and they'll have that right back on track, and then going the right way now. And that's going to be that positive learning experience, rather than letting them fail, or like, continue towards failure. Getting that corrective action in there quickly, so they have the ability to make it right, and then find success, is so important.
Yeah, you nailed it, right? Like, for those scenarios, because we're trying to run it in real time. Like I definitely jumped on the soapbox at the start of the practice and be like, hey, like, just remember, real time, move with purpose, clear and concise. Like, no dog fucking. Like, get in there, let's make it real. Like, we just did it for scenarios in AutoX course. Let's do it for this one. We already know what we're doing. You guys know what you're doing. Just work together as a team and get her done. And they did. And it was really good to see. And like you said, like, you don't want to push to that failure point. You want to stop it and correct it, and then push on. And I feel that's the best way to continue with our training, and it's working well. So it was a really good night. It was a good scenario. I'm looking forward to the next couple of weeks of some other events that we're going to be doing. And right now we're gearing down for the July 1st Canada Day. So we've got our parade car we're working away on like crazy. It's going to be the official kickoff in summer in our town. It's always a little nuts. So, but yeah, that's what we're going to be up to these next couple of weeks.
Nice. Yeah, we haven't been up to too much crazy. Just doing some cycling through a couple training rotations of some force entry, some passive entry. We're working. We just grabbed a couple doors around the hall here, and kind of showing how not secure the building is with some of the right tools. So yeah, going through some of our passive entry kit, and then doing some vehicle entry. So busting out the airbags and the picks, and getting yourself into a vehicle. And people joke around. They're like, like, what are we doing that for? Like, why don't they just call Mike's Auto? You're like, well, this isn't always going to be I locked my keys in the vehicle, right? Like we just had a call not that long ago where, mom was coming off work or whatever it was, or driving like long hours home, almost made it home. It was like 30 minutes from home, stopped to get fuel, passing through town here, and popped out, started to fuel up the vehicle, somehow bumped the lock button, and her baby was still in the vehicle. So she's like super upset and, obviously way overtired. And we have to go get the door open. So smashing the glass is not the move when there's a sleeping baby, or ever really, unless it's like a crash. But yeah, so being able to get access to that vehicle quickly with the proper tools, and yeah, so just training people on that, and then yeah, Grant had another crew going through just some standard search. So we're down there, like no live fire, obviously at this time of year, but through some, I don't know what he was using, threw a cover over their mask and got him to go in kind of blind and work as a team. So yeah, that's been kind of what we're up to. Nothing crazy out of the ordinary, just keeping the skills going. And we're also coming into summer season here. We will generally send somebody down to your guys' parade and have a bit of a blast. And yeah, training, we never really take an off month, but like July and August, like it's the bloody desert here. It gets crazy hot, and generally we're battling wildfire while all of this is happening, but we still have to show up and we still have to train. So we try to make some things fun, and I think we'll save what we do for another night. But we have a lot of activities that are going to be coming up over the next month and a half here, really, that they still count as training. Because you're still honing a lot of skills, but it's fun for the membership as well. So yeah, I think we'll maybe make that another night. Yeah, we're coming up on 40 minutes here, so we'll probably cap it there unless you had anything else you wanted to add.
No, I'm good. I think that's good for tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, both of us are bagged, and of course we sat here for like 45 minutes before we started, which is pretty usual for us. But yeah, we're going to chat about Stop the Bleed.
Stop the bleed. Super important. 3 methods of massive hemorrhage control: direct pressure, tourniquet application, and wound packing. Yeah, make sure you have a good high quality tourniquet. Make sure you got a good kit with you, good stop the bleed kit, good little IFAC for whatever you're doing. If you're on your quad, side by side, hunting, bombing around the bush, driving around day to day, yeah, make sure you have something with you. Out on your boat, it's very important. So check out stopthebleed.com or .org to see if there's any training courses near you. And of course, if you guys are already training it, keep going, man. Make these high fidelity sims. Make your little your wound packers out of those yoga blocks. Cheap, easy to use, man. Just get out there and use them and train and have fun with them. Make them as high fidelity as you can.
Yeah, awesome. Then there's Modus. Like I was saying, we were doing some of their passive entry this past couple weeks, and sitting on my desk is one of their tools. They're making a ton of stuff. Claim to fame is the Snyder tool, which is behind my shoulder. So yeah, check them out online. Awesome group. They're working on some pretty cool stuff now again. So yeah, check them out on their socials. See everything that they offer. Snyder tools, force entry, passive entry, textiles. They got a lot of stuff. So check them out. DTFF 5 gives you 5% off. What do we got, Tanner?
Tanner Olson. So yeah, out of Nashville now mostly, but was at West Coast Canada. So yeah, they're down there. They're rocking it. Been watching some of his reels they've been posting. They're in all the hot spots down there playing. It looks like right now it's fantastic. So yeah, check out Tanner Olson Band on any of your listening platforms there. We've had them up here. They put on one hell of a show. They are so damn good, and the nicest guys. They're so fun to be around as well. Yeah, just go give them a listen. You're gonna love their stuff. If you're down in Nashville, yeah, go check out where they're playing, which venue, and go support them. They're a great group. We'd love to see you support them. So, Tanner Olson Band.
Yeah, last but definitely not least is keeping us awake here. We got Wolf Tree Coffee. I was actually with Lee, one of the two people behind Wolf Tree. He was giving me a hand today. Yeah, great group, Lee and Mercedes out of Oliver, BC. They've got a bunch of blends. We're super partial to the initial attack blend. We kind of came up with it. So, and with that, every pound sold, $2 is donated to Honor House Society. So yeah, definitely give them some support. They are shipping. They do deliver anywhere in the South Okanagan. So if you're a listener from our area, definitely give them a quick follow and reach out. Awesome stuff and a great group. So Wolf Tree Coffee, check them out. And then lastly, we have us. So thank you for listening, finding us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and the YouTube. If listening to us isn't good enough, you can watch us and see how stupid we are. Yeah, give us a like, share, subscribe, comment. Keeps us current, and we really appreciate that. So thank you very much. Todd, anything else?
No, that's everything. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.
Awesome. Thanks again. And as always, stay safe, stay DTFF.